The Bounty Hunters. There is no atmosphere between them, and so there is no sound. The pumping of his lungs, beating of his heart, and mild humming of his cybernetic implants are all he hears as Shaymari launches herself at him on a rocket of green flame. He shifts his holographic arm and shapes it into an angled shield at the last second and bounces to the side. The crashing of himself against the station as he's sent flying sounding immensely loud to his ears. He catches some of the edges on the station and forces himself down before hauling himself to the side to avoid a blast of green fire. His cybernetic eye sounds as loud as an engine as he zooms in to see that the cruel princess is struggling in the microgravity. It's so weak that there's only a vague sense of where down and up are and a very slow, very weak pull. If he weighed even 10 pounds in this gravity, it would be a surprise to him. He grabs a large rivet and pulls himself along to soar along the surface of the station as he pulls the ablator cannon off his back and slots it into his holographic arm. Link between weapon and eye establishes a heartbeat later. He literally hears the heartbeat in question, and he starts taking aim as Shaymari begins to steady herself. She quickly getting her space legs, so to speak, and is learning how to rocket around on her blasting warfire. She seems to be a quick student of the concept that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Still, she also seems to have rather bad aim at a great distance. She zooms in as he feeds Axiom into the ablator cannon and he launches himself to the side and away, turns as he moves and launches a singular blast that launches him backwards laterally like a corkscrew. He hits, but now he's got too much spin to really see what he did. His thin micro-atmosphere, thanks to the badge, lets him know that the ablator is completely wrecked from that stunt. He contemplates throwing it away for a moment before sheathing it instead and then kicking to the side to touch down on the station and stop the spinning. As a result, his head spins for a moment and he shakes his head to try and bleed away any dizziness. Green light approaches and he hurls himself to the side with all 4 limbs and dodges an enormous blast of the Apuk warfire. He grabs onto a large rivet and turns himself around to get a good look at what he's done. More than anything, she seems upset with him. That's it. A hypercharged ablation blast and he made her jewelry go runny and scorched her dress. She doesn't look happy, but that's it. The vacuum is what's doing the job, not him. He has to move sideways, huge leaping strides carrying him away as she's walking an enormous sweeping beam of energy. Then a burst in front, he has to go up to avoid being reduced to a char. He can see her smirk in the distance. She thinks she has him pinned, which, to be fair, is a fair assumption. At first glance, it looks like he has nowhere to go. At first glance only, though. He pulls out his backup pistol, aims for the vastness of space, and as his world becomes filled with green light, he pours in Axiom to enhance the power and pulls the trigger. The blowback launches him backwards almost as fast as the bullet itself is launched out into the great black vastness. 1 bullet down, the extra from maintenance to be exact. There are 11 more in the magazine and he has 2 reloads on him. 34 is now down to 33. He grunts as he impacts the side of the hull and rolls with it, dodging a spear that seems to have been thrown by instinct. He glances to the side and sees absolute fury on her face. She really thought she had him, and would probably be screaming in rage if there was anything to scream with, which is likely not helping her mood. "Shit," he says as her patience seemingly snaps and she rushes at him on jets of warfire. He takes aim right at her and pulls the trigger as he pours in some Axiom, launching himself backwards and away. Miraculously, she actually flinches as the bullet connects, but she only flinches as the bullet connects. The psychotic bitch treats it more like she caught a bug on her face while running rather than an enhanced bullet. God damn, why do a Pook have to be so freaking tough? 33 has gone down to 32. He fires off 2 more shots, 30 left total with 8 in this magazine, and keeps ahead of her as his mind whirls into his options. They're not good. He doesn't know how long she can last in the void, but this bullshit seems to range between bullshit and goddamn. He can only hope that his buying time is actually meaning something. If she goes after his crew, his resolve re-solidifies and he starts pulling in on the local axiom harder. He pours it into the gun and concentrates it much more densely into the bullet. He takes aim once more, carefully this time, then shoots the charging bitch. Her eyes widen as she senses the danger and pulls to the side to dodge the attack. It still grazes her side and tears through her dress and part of her skin. Droplets of blood shoot out and she seems to scream in shock, before clamping her jaw shut and shooting him a look of utter wrath. He's got first blood, and he's already done more than she imagined possible. He has 29 more pistol shots, 7 in this magazine. She erupts into a towering inferno of green warfire and launches herself after him, apparently very much done with his bullshit. Whatever grace or kindness she was offering is gone. He starts charging axiom into his hard light arm. It's the only thing he's got that's effectively immune to fire. He shifts its configuration into a shield and he gets it up just in time to catch a punch that overloads the cybernetic limb, launching him across the station in a lateral orbit and absolutely dizzying speeds. Thankfully, it seems she still hasn't fully got the idea of fighting without gravity, as she was clearly expecting to easily catch him after the initial punch. That's fine. This hurts quite enough without follow-up blows. His arm is shorting out and the feedback is like having an organic arm in a wood chipper. He doesn't bother screaming. It won't help anything or anyone, least of all him. He forces the arm into an emergency shutdown and the pain stops as he sheathes his pistol. He places a hand onto the hard light projector and focuses. Cindy had taught him time and again how it was put together and how it interacted with him. So long as nothing was blasted off, he should be able to fix it with axiom alone. He pictures its internal and external configurations in blueprint form, the walkthrough and building videos they'd spent time together with. He feels something happen and risks a shift. His arm reappears but hazier and without much definition. But as he reaches down with it, he realizes it's aesthetic only and it's still as solid as he needs it to be. The ceasing of his momentum caused his stomach to attempt rebellion, but now is not the time, so he flexes his stomach muscles to more or less force his rebelling guts to stop their shit. Holy shit, he mutters as he takes stock of just how far she launched him. There's a vague green light on the horizon of the station as she pursues him. He considers for a few moments, then grins. Time to turn this around, and now that he's thinking with axiom, he's got an idea. He takes a moment to concentrate on all the times he's run into Cloaken, and his form wavers. Then a haze overtakes his form before settling to erase his presence. Just in time, too, as Shaymari crests the horizon like a burning missile of hate and blasts around looking for him. She can't see him, but she can vaguely sense his axiom over the sheer pain of suffocation and decompression. It's killing her focus, which is all that's stopping her from killing him. He likely won't get many more shots at her, so he withdraws the pistol again and focuses. Streamlines everything as much as he can, pulls in everything he can, but also tries to match it to the local axiom as well. She zooms around like a shooting star from the pits of hell, slowly getting closer with her sweeps. She even passes over him a few times as he slowly compacts as much axiom into the bullet as he dares. He does not know the threshold where axiom turns to null. Sure, it would end the fight, but it would end it for both of them. He's still in it to win it, and while a mutual kill might look impressive from the outside, he'd rather pass this one around at a bar and earn some drinks from it. He'll need to talk to the nerd squad after this, either that or do some of his own experimentation so he can find that limit. He takes careful aim with the pistol. Leading the shot without atmosphere is going to be a bitch and a half, but he's got to get her center mass at least, preferably in the head to throw off her concentration fully and kill her with the lack of atmosphere. The axiom is her life support now. If he can just break that focus, then he's won. He steadies himself and takes a deep breath. His mind is clear, his purpose set, and his will has aligned everything together. His organic finger touches the trigger before a blast stops him. His borderline meditative shooting state does not let him panic or even offer confusion as beams of sheer red light lance into Shae from the distance. He slowly turns and smiles at the sight of the shuttle that brought him and his team to the Deep Desire, bombarding the Apuk with its laser cannons. How long had they been fighting? It felt like hours already, but in all likelihood was merely minutes at most. Plenty of time for a plan to be made. There's a salvo of burning green spears sent hurtling towards the shuttle, even as the laser's constant beams have to be burning into her. It's distinctly unfair that she isn't already dead and has the power to fight a spaceship without weapons. Goddamn freaking cheating as hell Axiom. He hates advantages that aren't his. He realigns everything his slight distraction had cost him and takes aim once more. He focuses. He aligns himself in the gun. The shot is good. The shot is pure. The shot has already happened. He merely has to pull the trigger. 28 shots remaining, 6 in the magazine. He does. His focus lets him see that she manages to sense the danger once more and shoot upwards and away, turning his shot to her chest into a gut shot. But the shot is still good and painful. For the briefest of moments, her focus is shattered. But it's not enough. The raging bitch is so tough that even without her will reinforcing her, she can still survive the deprivation of a vacuum while being bombarded with vehicular-scale laser cannons. She glares right down at him and he doesn't have time to brace as she slams into him, and reality shatters, swims and goes runny at the edges. It refocuses and they're elsewhere, somewhere dark and woody. He refocuses his hard light arm to have a spiked mace rather than a hand and slams it into the side of her head. She tosses him away and he hits root and soil. He rolls with it and darts away. There's gravity and atmosphere. He needs distance and a few moments to reassess. There are trees and he deactivates the glowing arm and orders his eyes into ultraviolet to kill its lights. They're in a dark forest. Up above are webs and creatures scuttling around. Strange plants are growing between them that have an almost circuit like Deck 7, the bio barn, hunting ground and playpen of the huntress. Could she take Shae? He doesn't know. I'm going to rip out your entrails and force feed them to you. Shae hisses out in burning wrath as Pukey considers things. He brings up his communicator and puts it as low as possible. Bike, she's teleported us to Deck 7. I'm in stealth. Confirm understanding. Confirmed, sir. You were only in the void for 2 minutes. Bike whispers back. Felt longer. Please tell me you have a plan. Pukey mutters as softly as he can. Just about. I need 1 more minute. Bike replies just as the tree is torn off its roots and there's nothing between Shae and Pukey. I think I can give you that. In fact, take 2. He says before deactivating the communicator as he looks the fuming bitch straight in the eyes. Her hair is gone, just a burnt patch of frizz remains. Her dress is burnt and shredded. She's covered in blood and looks like she's gone a week without a drop of water. Round 2? He asks her, charging power into his plasma sword even as he turns it on his belt with Axiom. No one does to me what you... She's cut off by his plasma sword igniting and he quickly thrusts it in as hard as he can. Instead, the beam of burning destruction that's eaten through solid walls parts as it makes contact with her skin. She smiles. Out of tricks? Inspired. After all, we wouldn't want to finish this bit of fun too quickly, would we? He asks, before suddenly tripling the amount of Axiom he's channeling down the sword, and she screams in pain. She backhands him, but he knew it was coming and catches it on his reactivating holographic arm. She shorts it out again, and he's sent tumbling. But he twists the Axiom around him to erase his visual profile and darts into the woods. Soldier or sorcerer, I'm going to break you. Do you hear me? I will break you. She screams even as fire erupts around her and begins to consume the deck. To her side and slowly moving behind her, Pukey grins even as he readjusts his hard light projector to both repair it and to give it a field upgrade. He's got an idea.